Suppose you want to know how many times the car wheel rotates in 2 kilometers. The starting point would be to estimate how far the car travels after one wheel rotation. This will be the circumference of the wheel. A simple technique for estimating the circumference of a wheel is to roll the wheel along a tape measure. The mark fixed to the wheel lines up with the 0.1 meter position on the tape. After one rotation, the mark aligns with the 1.370 meter position. The circumference is therefore the difference between these positions. The wheel circumference can also be estimated by winding a string around the wheel. The length of string required will be marginally longer than the true circumference. The thickness of the string introduces a small error. As you can see, compared with the last measurement, the circumference is 20 millimeters longer using this method. The wheel circumference can also be estimated by measuring the diameter of the wheel and calculating the circumference. With the camera position fixed, the measurement is subject to a large parallax error because the scale is too far away from the object being measured. By using 2 straight edge sticks either side of the tire, parallax error can be significantly reduced. This method yields a circumference of 1.288 meters or 18 millimeters longer than the rolling method. Possible reasons for these differences may include: the string does not follow a straight path around the wheel, the thickness of the string. The rolling tire method allows the weight of the wheel to slightly compress the tire, thus reduces the measured circumference. There are different ways of making estimates. Each estimate comes with its own errors. Through practice, you will improve your skill at estimation and gain a better understanding of the errors you have to work with.
Alright everybody, that was just a short little video on how you can actually use estimation and different ways of looking at it. But this is actually something that's kind of neat. You can use this a lot in the real world. I use it nearly every week at least in my real world life. So let's take a look at some things going on here. Describe the difference between approximate and exact answers. Provide an example of each. Alright, so approximate is like when you are just estimating. Okay, so the best example I can give you is if I am grocery shopping. In the back of my mind, I am keeping an estimate of how much money I spend. How much money I spend, so that when I get to the register, I have a rough idea how much it is. Why is this important? Because I don't want to go up there and have a $200 bill and only have $50 in my pocket. Doesn't make any sense. Now, an exact answer would be when I actually get the bill. Okay? I mean, I can't just give them an estimate of the money that I owe them. It's like actually me getting a price saying you have to pay $125.67. All right? So estimating versus exact, that's just one example. There's tons of other things like how much did you run today? If you have a Fitbit like I do, ooh, all right, that tells you exactly how much you walked or how much you ran. But if you just guess oh, I think I walked 5 miles a day, that's all. When would an approximation be appropriate? Again, when you're making educated guesses. Okay. All right. Things of maybe you're measuring gas mileage. Okay, that all works. Exact answer necessary. Paying bills. Okay, anything with money. So you're not going to make an estimate on what you owe for a bill. Man, my handwriting's awful. Truly sorry about that. So here's the other big thing. We're going to learn this more as the year goes on. In mathematics, we often stress getting an exact answer. That's why we use the equal sign. You guys have used this forever. But in everyday life, a few cents here or there are not going to make much of a difference. You should focus on the dollars. So here's the approximation sign. It's basically just a little squiggly equal sign. Okay? We use this anytime we round. and we're going to use this a lot later on with geometry as well. Okay, perfect squares. Fill in the following squares. Following perfect squares, you need to be able to recognize these. Again, we've been using these for a while now. 1 is 1, 2 squared is 4, 3 squared is 9. I'm just going to write these out for you guys. 64, 81, 100, 121, 144, 169, 196, 225, and then 256. Okay, so there we go. Alright, so how can we use that? Basic estimation games. So this is something you guys are pretty cool with, and the nice thing too is you have a calculator, you can always use it. But I feel this was important to share with you anyway. Estimate square root of 70. Identify a perfect square that 70 is between. So you have your entire list of perfect squares like we do on the other page. 70 is between 64 and 81. How do I know that? Here's 64, here's 81, 70 is between them. Look at the numbers they're associated with, 8 and 9. Alright? So the square root of 64 is 8, square root of 81 is 9. So basically the estimate for the square root of 70 is between 8 and 9. Alright? So let's take a look at, analyzing a few of these. Root 55. Well, you have something like square root of 49. And how am I doing this again? I'm coming over here. 55 is between 49 and 64. So it's between square root of 49 and square root of 64. Between 7 and 8. Okay? So what you can take a look at next is square root of 18. If we look for the perfect squares around it, you have root 16 and root 25. Square root of 16 is 4. Square root of 25 is 5. So between 4 and 5. Root 7 between square root of 4 and square root of 9. So between 2 and 3. Finally, this one kind of messed up, but square root of 220, you're looking at between, let's see here, 220 is 196 and 225. So between 14 and 15. Okay? Alright. My final one here. A theme park charges $48 for a day pass and a $112 for a week pass. Last month, 5,528 day passes were sold and 882 week passes were sold. What's the closest estimate of the total amount of money paid for the day and week passes for last month? Well, okay. For a day pass, it's $48. I'm going to say $50. Day pass. And I know that 5,528, so I'm going to say 5,530 day passes were sold. So to find out the total money, I can multiply those two things together. 50 times 5,530, 276,500. Okay. So for my week pass, it says 112. I'm going to round to 110. And I know that 882 of them were sold, so let's go 880. So again, I'm just doing 110 times 880, 96,800. All right. So I can take those two things together if I want to know how much total money was made. $373,300 total. So let's take a look. Here are my options: 250, 350, 450, 550,000. All right. So the closest one to it, obviously. Boom. Alrighty. So good stuff. That's our little notes on estimation. All right. Hopefully that helped you guys out a little bit. Keep up the good work, and as always, good luck. We're we're all counting on you.